Hello and welcome in. This is Kelsey with Youngblood Tarot. I'm very excited about the message I have coming out for you today already. So, as I was shuffling this deck, I'm just kind of thinking about what I wanted to use for today's reading. I split the deck, and the sword and the stone were on the split. And that struck me just kind of like the lightning in this card. You know, the story of the sword and the stone, and it's about, being a chosen one, or like being of a royal lineage, and not really knowing about it. So it had been a while, since I'd familiarized with myself with the story. So I read a little bit about it and watched a clip from the Disney movie. And basically, it's about this character, Wart, and he's a squire to this other character, Kay, who's going to become a knight because he's got more like noble blood, and Wart is a commoner. And he goes with Kay to this tournament, and they're staying in an inn. And Kay is supposed to compete in the tournament and then get knighted after the tournament. Well, Wart actually leaves Kay's sword back at the inn. At the inn, sorry, and he has to run back and go to get it, but the inn's locked. And then he just happens to look out, and there's a churchyard with a stone with an anvil and a sword stuck in it. And he's like, I have to get that sword, to take it back to Kay. And there's this moment where he touches the hilt of the sword, and he feels this like divine presence inside him. And there's like a glow down from the heavens, and he feels this power coming in, but he can't quite pull the sword from the stone the first time. And I'm feeling like that's where you are in the story. Okay? So you can let me know. So at this point, the sword is stuck, feeling maybe like something, like you feel like something's coming, but it's like, when is it going to happen? Like it hasn't happened yet. And I feel like you're at that place right beforehand. I mean, what happens next is that he summons up all his power, trying to do his duty, and he pulls it from the stone and runs back to the tournament. And then when he hands it over, Kay's father recognizes it as Excalibur, and everyone starts to recognize the sword. And they ask, where did you get that sword from? And he tells them that he just pulled it from the stone. Because he had no idea about this legend or this prophecy. So Merlin the wizard had prophesized, that the king, the true heir, would pull the sword from the stone. And Wart, being a commoner, he had no idea about this. This wasn't in his hometown or anything like that. So he's just innocently telling the truth of what he did, having no idea what it meant at all, having no idea how spectacular it actually was. And what happened in that moment? They all laughed at him. Everyone laughed at him because all of the biggest, strongest men in the town, in the region, had come and tried to pull the sword from the stone. And then this little scrawny commoner apparently had done it. So, they were in complete disbelief, just laughing at him. And then they said, okay, we'll prove it. We'll go down to the churchyard, put it back in and see if you can pull it out. But, a couple other people wanted to see if they could do it or show that they could do it, until, again, it was, Wart's turn to pull it from the stone. And again, the light shone down, and then everyone witnessed it. They witnessed what had happened and realized that he was the heir. So I'm feeling like that rings true for you. Like people have underestimated you. That maybe somebody hears about an accomplishment of yours, or somebody else says like, oh, did you see that person's talent? And then there's this reaction like, what? Them? Like, no, I don't think so. You must have the wrong person. Like, it couldn't be them. And then there's going to be this moment where you and everyone else realize that it is you. That you're the only one that can fulfill this path and this destiny in life. And I feel that soon you're going to have this breakthrough, and that, the first try, okay, the sword didn't come out. The second try, the sword still didn't come out, but you felt that power. And then that third try is what's coming up, and the sword's going to come out. So I'm really excited about that. And then I did look up these 2 cards in the guidebook as well. So the sword card is about making a decision. And I did get that feeling. It's calling to mind the 2 of Swords in the traditional tarot. There are 2 cross swords, and there's this lightning bolt here instead. And then the moon, meaning intuition. And then the stone is about a steadfast dedication. So it's about continuously putting in the work, over time. Never relenting, never giving in. Always having that solid self, that stone, that core that you're working on. Let's see, what else did this say? The stone holds psychic and literal weight. Its energy is one of permanence, concreteness, and reliability. The stone's ability to transform is nearly imperceptible to us, as it changes ever so slowly over countless human lifespans. So this is what I'm feeling about you, that you have been constantly transforming throughout your life, so that the people who knew you when you were younger, or maybe even not that long ago, because you've had so many changes, and these changes have come in rapidly, and even though they may not be huge, they're still transformative. And so these people who knew you before, they don't even have an accurate perception of who you are, because of the changes that you've gone through, because of how much you've polished and perfected yourself, and how strong you are still at your core. And I think that this is about you, making a decision to stay dedicated to something. Okay, so I want to get a little bit more information. What's this decision about? What's calling for your dedication right now? And as I split the deck, I see the 2 of Swords. And then the Fool, which is a new journey. Okay. It's a little interesting there that I split on the 2 of Swords, right? Okay. What's this decision? Okay, so the Fool is coming out again. Yes, a new journey. A new adventure. Ace of Wands. Wow, this is a bright new spark. This combination came out for me one time when I advised someone to go on a journey, to take a risk and pursue something, and that person was very successful. And they used that as a launching pad for themselves. And they have become very successful in multiple areas of life since they followed through on that decision. And what do we have coming up? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune, which is definitely a fortunate, abundant new path for you. So this is a change for the better. Where you may have been at the bottom of the wheel, you're now moving to the top of the wheel. And it's this new journey, this new passion, this new adventure that's bringing in. And what else comes out again? The Two of Swords, okay? So this is obviously a very important decision. But at the same time, I think it will be an obvious decision. Okay, it's going to be something that's a new journey. It's going to be something you're very passionate about, that you're researching, that you're acting on, taking inspired action on. And you're going to feel lucky doing it. You're going to feel like you were meant to do it. It's going to be your Jupiter. It's going to be, what you have automatic luck in life. Really embracing that. So yeah, you're going to need to rely on your intuition, but I feel like you can figure this out. Okay? Tell me more about this new path and this new passion. The Prince of Pentacles. So you're pursuing this just like with the stone, with a very slow but steady mentality. Just like Wart, Arthur, you were doing your duty. Okay? This came about not because you were trying to prove that you were the chosen one, not because you were trying to prove that, you're worthy of some special recognition or power. No, I mean, it came about because you were following your heart and also like doing your duty and being very sincere with that, putting in that continuous, dependable energy. Anything else you can tell us about what this new passion and what this new path looks like? Guess I'm holding the deck upside down. So 7 of Swords and the Moon. Interesting. I'm feeling like this is having something to do with like uncovering secrets. I don't know. What are you? Like, are you an international super spy or something? No, I'm just kidding. Very curious. So I feel like you might be, helping people to overcome their self-sabotage. Helping people to overcome difficult situations. I feel that you have a lot of experience, and through your change and transformation in life, you have a lot of knowledge that you can use to strategically help others. You can help them navigate past these tricky emotions, so that they can approach something strategically, so that they can learn from the things that have happened to themselves and also to you in the past. Sometimes people have to go through experiences on their own, but sometimes they can learn from others. If you can advise one person or even help them get out of a predicament faster than they would have, that's great. And then anything else that has to do with emotions, like helping people understand their emotions through art, music, whatever other creative expression. Okay. And then we do have the Ace of Cups coming up at the bottom of the deck. So this can be like a new friendship, a new romance. It can be a new creative project. So I do feel a lot of passion and creativity. And the fact that you can combine that with such a dedicated energy, I think that's what's leading you to this breakthrough moment. And yeah, I feel like at this point in time, you're just setting off on this new adventure and you're just finding out how important and how epic this is. And I'm so excited for you. I know that you're going to make it through. Maybe you already have made it through, the people who are laughing at you and doubting you. And you're going to overcome any self doubts you have to, you're going to overcome these feelings that say maybe you can't do it. And you're going to power through that. Okay. Let's get a couple golden mantras to end out with. Yes, I am breaking the generational patterns that once held my lineage behind. You are part of an important lineage, and you are taking all the power and all the lessons from that, and you're breaking the negative cycles. You're bringing the luck back into your family line. You're bringing the magic and the power back. I'm a whole ass vibe. Absolutely. When people see you walking around with Excalibur and that crown on your head, damn, you are for sure a whole ass vibe. All right. Thank you so much for checking in today. I will see you next time.